I want to discuss something with you today that will hopefully help you with your health, fitness, weight loss goals, but will also resonate in other areas of your life and will be beneficial personally, professionally, or anything else that you might be involved with. And I want to talk about two different things, and that are your thoughts and your actions, and how people blur those two things together many times in many circumstances. Now, the reason that I thought about this and wanted to actually start putting some of this together to pertain to health and fitness is by reading some things that pertain to fear and courage, and how courage is overcoming fear. But what many people believe are courageous people don't feel fear. And that's not the case. Everyone feels fear. Everyone feels emotions. It's just certain people will put those emotions aside and decide to take actions that are different when what those emotions might be. So I want to talk about some different emotions that people run into and the actions from that. And I want you to think about what you actually think and how you put that into practice. And I want you to realize that just because you have those thoughts doesn't mean that you have to take those actions. They're two separate things. Your thoughts don't define you. Your actions define who you are. And you might have fear as a thought, but you can take a courageous action. You can overcome that fear and put it aside and still take an action to move forward. You might have anger. The action would be violence. You decide whether or not you want to take the violent action or not. And this is something that happens a lot, is people think there are a lot of nice people in the world that have great thoughts about helping others and doing things. It's just most people anymore are so busy they can't actually take the time to stop and do it. And then by the time that they have free time to take an action, it's too late to actually make the kind gesture. So a lot of times people on this scenario, people are so busy they can't actually take the action, and by the time it becomes available to take an action, the thought has passed by or the ability has passed by. You'll see, like, if you see somebody broke down next to the road, somebody might drive by and it's like, well, I'll go back a little later if they're still there. That type of thinking. That's you having the thought but not taking the action. So all of this applies to our daily life, and I want you to just understand that the actions that people take are based on the thoughts, but you make that decision to take that action. So I want to talk about weight training, I want to talk about weight loss, and we'll start talking about cravings, excuses that you make in your head. So if you are craving a certain food or a certain dish, when you have that mental craving and you have that idea in your head, that's your thought process. The action you take is what defines whether or not you're going to be successful. Everyone has cravings. Everyone has the same similar thoughts in everything. So just because you have that craving doesn't mean that you're more mentally weak or that you're not going to be successful compared to someone else. Other people still have those same thoughts and cravings. You just have to start taking the actions to overcome the craving. You need to choose a healthier option, or maybe find an action or an exercise, something you can do to be busy to keep you from having the cravings. Identify the craving. If you have cravings after you have a fight with your spouse or when you're stressed, maybe you can do some things to alter that scenario to where you don't have that craving at that specific time. The mental excuses of not wanting to work out. I'm tired. I don't feel like it. I worked out yesterday. A lot of the mental excuses you come up with. People think that elite bodybuilders, elite athletes don't have those same hurdles or those same obstacles that they put up, but they actually have those same thoughts. It's just their actions are so ingrained, they take the action anyway. So they have already found ways to overcome those hurdles and these thoughts that they have, so that the thoughts don't define them. So what I want you to do is start thinking about some of the thoughts that you have, identifying when you're having that thought that just because you have that thought, it doesn't affect who you are, what you're trying to accomplish. And that way you can take the action you want in order to see the result. So just because you have a craving, just because you might not feel like working out, don't think that that means that's who you are. And it means you're lazy because you don't feel like working out. It doesn't. Lots of people have that same feeling, but you have to take actions to overcome it. You have to identify that that's a roadblock for you and move past it. And if you do, your actions will start becoming habits. And we'll talk about that in the next video and how you can start making habits to define who you are.